What's going on, guys? Happy Friday. Tonight we're going to be going over 5 important stocks that you're probably going to want to be watching for next week. We're also going to be doing a recap of our technical analysis for Bitcoin, Cardano, and XRP that we did a couple days ago because all of those seem to be doing really well. So let's get started. All right, so real quick, I just want to recap the technical analysis that we did a couple days ago on Bitcoin because it's looking really good. We actually didn't post a video until yesterday, and we did the technical analysis 2 days ago, so everything is still on par. We mentioned that we were looking for a drop around 34 to 35,000, which it did, and then at that point it bottomed out. That was our low, our support line, and we had a 20-day moving average cross the 50-day moving average, signaling a buy signal. However, it did go up after that. However, we are looking around here, seeing that the 20-day might cross down into the 50 days. So if that happens, that's going to signal a sell. And we're looking at all metrics here. That's just one, but the RSI is a little warmer, and usually when it gets around here, we're starting to see, we'll usually see a drop down here, which would indicate, you know, maybe a little bit faster than we anticipated. So maybe this is going to be closer to over here. Maybe next week, let's see, on the 27th or so, and we may see a drop back down to the 36 range. So definitely take a look at that, you guys. If Bitcoin winds up going up to like 40,000, 41,000 again, then look for a increase in RSI. Look for the moving averages to cross, and that might signal a good sell signal for you guys. You can sell there, maybe short it down to 36 if you dare. All right, so let's take a look at Cardano. All right, so there's a lot going on with Cardano right now. The RSI is high. We're sitting at the 200-day moving average, and the 20-day moving average crossed the 50-day moving average, which signaled a buy at around 83 cents or so. And right now we're sitting at 91, 92 cents. So what we're looking for is to maintain a steady price over the 200-day moving average. But with the RSI where it's at right now, just based on the history of this coin, our chart that we have here indicates we're likely to see a drop back down to 84, maybe another bounce back up to around 88, and ultimately I'm assuming that we're going to touch around that 80 cent mark again at some point. We may even go back down to 74 cents. It just depends on how everything goes next week. So look for, I don't think we're going to see a breakout above, let's see here, 99 cents to $1, but who knows, it could happen over the weekend. And if it does, if it hits that dollar mark over the weekend, that might be a good time to set up a short and maybe sell whatever position you have. This isn't financial advice. I'm just saying that's probably what we're going to do. So we're really watching Cardano closely because the RSI it's hot. Okay, so real quick, let's take a look at XRP. All right, so we're still within formation here in our chart. But one thing I wanted to point out to you guys, on November 27th, 2021, we had a downward move with the 20-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. The 20-day crossed the 50, which indicates a sell signal. And as you can see, we just had a bloodbath all the way down. So technicals aren't always correct, but it's definitely a good thing to follow. In which case, right now we have the 20-day moving average crossing the 50-day moving average. However, it's still a little bit of a sell signal here, and then we are likely to see an upward movement here. And I could be wrong. We'll see. So far, we've been correct on our analysis on both Bitcoin and Cardano. I'm not sure how XRP is going to pan out, but we could see downward pressure down here until around 60 cents. Right now, I'm looking at the RSI, and it's mid-range. It's not too high, not too low. So we're watching this one closely. I'm not really sure where this one's going to head, but we'll see how the weekend goes. Okay, now 5 stocks that you need to be watching starting Monday. So unfortunately, right now Russia and Ukraine are at war. It's a very, very sad time. I have a very good friend of mine who's Serbian, and he has family in Ukraine, and I think they're near Kiev. So Mike, if you're watching this, we're praying for you and your family. And if you guys want to leave Mike some support, leave it in the comments. So in regards to the 5 stocks that we're going to be looking at today, historically, when we have tensions across seas or with the US, with other countries, the stock market is usually going to take a decent enough dip to where we can create an opportunity to get in at a lower end. So today we're going to be looking at a few bank stocks, travel stocks. We're also going to be looking at some technology stocks and hopefully do a little bit of analysis to where we can find an entry point. United Airlines, right now we're sitting at around 46. We have a classic double bottom over here at 42. And we have a double top at around 50, so that's going to be our trading range essentially. We have a 20-day moving average crossing the 50, at around 48, and that pretty much signaled our downward trend all the way down to 42. So we had a good bounce back all the way up to around 45, 46, and that's where we're sitting at right now. So this is healthy-ish. It looks okay. So what we're going to be looking for is to see if we're going to wind up getting some resistance over here at the 47 mark. If we do get resistance there and we get denied, then it's possible that we're going to be looking at a downward trend, probably back down to the 40 area sometime next week. So look for United Airlines to start getting resistance at around the 47 mark. If we do break past that 47 mark and create new support around that level, then we may, get a move back up to 50, in which case you want to look for, maybe like a triple top. And so it could go either way at this point, but definitely beware. We have a RSI sitting at around 54. So not too high, not too low, but it was at 84 during the time that it dropped from 49 to, I want to say, 47. So again, watch for the resistance at 47. See if it goes past there. You might move up to 50. If it gets rejected at 47, then there's a possibility that we're going to be moving back down to the 42 or low 40s range. Okay, guys? All right, so let's take a look at the bank stocks. Wells Fargo. So the strategy here is to assume that these bank stocks are likely going to go down to the prices that they were before we had priced in, a half-point basis rate hike. I'm not sure whether or not that was over here at the 48 mark. It looks like we double bottomed off the 50 mark and we're back up to 54. So we may teeter-totter from the 51 to the 55, back down to the 51. It just depends on if that's our support. As of right now, the 50 line is our support, but you never know. It just depends on what the Fed winds up doing. If the Fed speaks and we don't increase rates, it's likely that Wells Fargo could go back down to 48. So keep that in mind. It's kind of a hit or miss. We don't know what the Fed is going to do. Try to do some research and figure out over time what's likely to happen. Okay, so RTX, Raytheon Technologies, has obviously gone up from 91 all the way up to 98 over the last couple days. This is because of the expectation that when you have war, that certain countries are probably going to have to buy, military equipment and stuff like that RTX does produce and sell. So the RSI right now is sitting relatively where it normally is once it starts to drop back down. So next week we may see some selling pressure, we may not. The 20-day moving average is moving an upward trend into the 50-day moving average crossing, so we may see some buying pressure. However, we're sitting at a 52-week high at 98.27, so people might want to take profits. They might be waiting to see what happens with the tensions next week, but who knows how long this stuff is going to last. So Raytheon Technologies could shoot up to 110, 120. They have a all-time high of 156.83. That was in February 7th, 2020. So that was during COVID when it had started and all the technology stocks were going up. So if this keeps going up, the good news is that this war is not going to last forever. So once we do have tensions sort of falter and die down a little bit, it's likely that Raytheon Technologies is going to go down because it's not sustainable growth. So eventually we may be looking into a short for RTX at some point in the near future. All right, so EXPE, Expedia Group, it's a travel stock. Right now the RSI is sitting at around 55, 56. We did have essentially a double bottom at the 181 mark. The 20-day moving average crossed the 50 at around 206, and that's when we started seeing that downward spiral to 184, 185, and then we dropped back all the way up to 199. So based on all of this, I really do think we'll probably have a move up towards like 205, 206. I can't tell for sure. Not all technical analysis, not any technical analysis actually is foolproof, but we've been doing okay so far. So I do think that we're going to probably sit at around 205, 206 before we open a small short position, depending on how the markets react to everything next week. And ultimately, we may touch back down to the 189, 190 mark. So look for that 206, 205. If it gets rejected there, it doesn't go any higher, and we start to see anything else happen with the markets, then we are probably going to set up a short and look for that 190. Okay, so SBNY, Signature Bank, we kind of went over why banks could be pricing in a situation where the Fed decides not to increase rates as much as they were going to, but we did see a huge jump from 308, 310 range all the way back up to 350 range, and that put the RSI around 65. So what we're looking for here is a jump in the RSI possibly around 77, 78, which would likely put the price towards 354, 360, somewhere around that area, in which case we may set up a short. It really just depends on how the market goes next week. This could really go either way. It could go higher, but I don't see that happening. If there's more talks of the Fed not increasing rates, specifically because of the tensions with Ukraine and Russia and everything else getting priced in, then this could fall probably back down to the 328 range, which would ultimately be good for our short position. So that's probably what we're going to be looking to do. We're going to be looking for that 360, 370 range back down to a 328 range, and hopefully cool that RSI down back to around 45, 50. We'll see how that goes. But all right, guys, so those are the 5 stocks that we're going to be looking at next week. We got a bunch of others. We'll probably do some technical analysis on those next week as well. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Da Vinci Trades. Thank you.